Although I really enjoyed this chapter, and also, the beginning into this new volume, I really felt like it went by so quick. I had to go back and count the pages and make sure they didn't cheat me.
Gourmet number 44. Coco means business.
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim here to bring you another review on the action-packed, poisonous tale of Toriko. Now, I say poisonous not in a bad way. I say it because of our boy Coco, and, of course, him recently appearing in, his main power being poison. So, anyway, our last chapter really left us ending off the volume and kind of left things on three different fronts as really, Terry was going to be about to face one of the GT robots that was piloted by Starjun in the Devil Athletic. The large one was going to be taken on by Coco, and the last one, Sunny was gonna mess up inside the belly of the beast, the Regal Mammoth, literally. So here we are. We got our next volume. We're digging in, moving right along over here, and we're in volume 6. And this was kind of a cool one. And to tell you the truth, it was a page turner, a lot of action. And man, I got to the end of it, right? And I was like, really? What? Shouldn't there be like 10 more pages? It just went by that quickly, and I went back and I counted the pages, and sure enough, there's like 20 or 21 or whatever. So this one, though, is very cool way to start out. We start out, we pick up with Terry going, toe-to-toe with the GT robot that's controlled by the vice chef of Gourmet Corp, Starjun. And we see some blood kind of dripping off of Terry over there, and it's looking like he's not looking too good. The whole thing about it that's really cool, and I like the way they explain it, is that Terry knows, even though he's only a couple days old, instinctually he knows, and they explain, the author explains, battle wolves, they know even when they're outmatched, what they'll do is they'll rely on their speed and their endurance to go and to help them eventually win the fight by waiting for their opponent to make a mistake or to leave an opening. And I thought that was very cool, because then they went and they compared the battle wolf to actual lions, and they said that most lions don't even really go and hunt down their prey. A lot of times they go and they wait for hyenas that have gone and taken down maybe another lion or whatever, and then they'll go and they'll pick off the easy prey for the hyenas, So it's very kind of cool the way they explained it and everything. And then they show Terry, and kind of in his mind, he knows that he's outmatched. So he goes and he backs off and keeps his distance, dodges a couple of shots really artfully from the GT robot, and really is just waiting for that opening, And to tell you the truth, I mean, anybody who's been in any type of boxing or martial arts, I used to be in the martial arts in Taekwondo, and a lot of times that's what you do. If you have an opponent that has just a longer arm span, boxing, or of course if you're in a martial art, a longer legs or whatever the case is, somebody that's outmatched you by weight, by size, by length of arms, whatever. A lot of times you have to go and you have to not so much play dirty, but you have to go and find a way to exploit their superiority and make it their weakness. And for instance, somebody with longer arms in boxing, you go and you rush them, you get inside on them, and then you go and you start throwing inside, jabs and hooks and whatnot. And their arms are so long that they cannot get around you to actually hit you. And very similar in this circumstance is that he knows that up close he's going to get destroyed by this thing, so he goes and he keeps his distance, and it explains how he's keeping his far enough distance to where he's waiting for that opening, but at the same time, he knows that he won't be able to be mortally wounded by any shots that come his way or anything that the GT robot throws at him. He'll actually be able to have ample time to dodge it and whatnot, and he's hoping that it can just boil down to a game of endurance, kind of a cat and mouse waiting for that opening. So I thought it was cool. I thought it was great the way it was explained. But then the GT robot, after a while, he looks at it and he's just kind of like, I also wanted to mention, too, that he goes and he says the head chef of Gourmet Corp had talked about battle wolves and about how they still roam free somewhere in the gourmet world, but not here in the human world. So I have no idea what he's talking about with these two different worlds, or if it's a part of a bigger world, or if it's another frickin' planet or what. But I thought it was kind of cool that they mentioned that these things are not fully extinct, that they're still roaming free somewhere in the gourmet world, but he never thought he'd see one here in the human world. So he goes and basically says, you know what, I can see that he's not going, he's like, you know what, if you're not going to go and engage me in this, I'm not going to keep trying to, shoot at you and whatnot. So he goes, I'm going to get out of here. And of course, Terry's not going to let him leave. So Terry's got to make that decision. Am I going to attack him? Am I not? And before he even gets to make that decision, he goes and he says, here, but you can deal with this. And boom, the Obasaurus drops in, right? And if you remember, that thing was a big-ass, mean-looking thing. Now, Toriko did get the best of him over there, and I'm sure Terry eventually will too, but it's definitely going to be a distraction, and it's going to slow down. And he's really just kind of sacrificing the Obasaurus so he can get away from Terry, because he's got other shit to take care of, Starjun does. So that's how that first portion of the chapter goes and kind of wraps up. And then it goes and it takes us to Coco fighting the large GT robot, the oversized one, the 15, 20, 25-foot one, right? And he's riding on his bird, and this thing's going to fire, and a peeler shot at him, and he's still got that cool poison sword, and he goes to block, one of the peeler shot things, and his sword gets all kind of dented, dinged, messed up, and he's like, oh, I guess it wasn't as strong as I thought it was, So definitely not looking great for him for a second over there, because he's kind of trying to dodge, and as he's getting shot at, he winds up getting hit and actually knocked off of Kiss, his bird, and the giant crow-looking thing. And he winds up getting knocked to the ground, and it's kind of cool because then all of a sudden you go and you see the GT robot just like, and it's just going to go and just stomp down on him, right? That's what I picture, like this huge mech going, I know my sound effects are a little off, but hey, what are you going to do? It's free television, right? Anyway, so then he goes, and it's kind of cool because he goes and he's talking about how the regal mammoth is far enough away now, and the heavy cliffs have kind of all just, gone away and fucked off, gone in their own direction and what have you. So he's far enough away from things that he can kind of unleash his true move, whatever it is that he's gonna do, right? And I thought this was kind of cool because he goes batshit crazy. Look at that. My boy goes Jason Voorhees on him from Friday the 13th, because that looked like the mask he's wearing over there, and he's just like, oh, no way, nobody dares approach me. And I just love that, because in the GT robot's like, what the fuck are you talking about, And then he goes, and as the GT robot kind of left an opening as they were, going to fall, as he went to fall down and everything else, he wound up hitting him with a shot right in the face as his face opened up there, the GT robot's mouth or face, with his poison rifle. So this thing's over there, and he's just like, what was it that you shot in my mouth over there? I can already tell my taste, my sensors are getting messed up and this and that, And Coco's obviously got a plan over there, but it's pretty cool because he's just kind of taunting him and everything else, And then he's like, poison, and the GT robot's like, I've swum the poison tide and this and that, Coco's like, yeah, me too, buddy. And he basically makes it out like, yeah, that's a bath for me, pal. Let's see what's stronger, my poison or the poison tide. Let's see if you can handle it, right? So this thing goes and he's stomping on him and everything else. And it's great because he goes and he's just like, the current of death known as the poison tide. I love that place, which I thought was great. He's like, hey, I know. Let's test which is more toxic, the poison tide or me. I'm like, oh, yeah. And then this is how things end off over here, man. Poison hell, and I just loved how it was depicted. A nice use of shadows, and obviously the parts that are blacked in and everything like that. It just looks like this just swamp of poisoned evil that is just surrounding and about to go and envelope this GT robot and hopefully mess him up. So all in all, a very fun chapter, a great explosive way to start out the volume. And as I said, it seemed like when I got to the end of it, I was like, huh? Was that 20 pages? I felt like I got cheated a little bit because everything moved so quickly. So anyway, we will get to the chapter question. The chapter question that I have is, and I know a lot of people, Terry is a fan favorite, as well as Coco. But with Terry, what did you think about the way it was explained, as far as just the battle tactics of not just him or her or whatever, but the battle wolf itself? I really think that's kind of a cool way of describing and depicting things, and I know I took a lot of time explaining that about different things with boxers, martial arts, and I'm sure there are several other things too where you go one-on-one against an opponent. Wrestling is probably one of them. I personally, though, have never wrestled or anything, so I don't know about that. But I would assume that it's very similar, when you are kind of being outclassed by somebody that's maybe bigger, stronger, or whatever, you kind of have to go and look to take something of theirs, one of their strengths, and turn it into a weakness, or find a weakness and try to expose it. So really, what do you think about, just the way that Terry was kind of, just the whole way that they explained the battle wolf and everything else? He had 0% chance of winning at that point, so he knew, I got to back the fuck off and try to go and play my cards right and let speed and endurance, hopefully take over, and hopefully, get this GT robot to make a mistake. So I know that's kind of a roundabout question, but answer it anyway in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you have not done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you, and even you, and you too. you in the next Fun Nation. If you'd like to see more drawings like this one, just go on over to my Facebook or Instagram page and look at them till your heart's content.